if you're with us live, it's such a discipline and a habit that reaps massive rewards when you always do focus on what is great and what you're grateful for. So one of the concepts I want to introduce tonight is grateful for time. So it's a little ritual that we do every night. And we've done it with our children since day dot. And they will instinctually, wherever we're having a meal, they'll start. And often if it's a guest or someone we're having a meal with, they'll ask, what are you grateful for? And what you focus on grows. So we're driving along this afternoon, and my son, he starts talking about, he's 12, and he starts talking about Ford Mustangs, yellow Ford Mustangs, how he's seeing them everywhere now, and it's his dream car. And I said, it's interesting that you're seeing them all now. Have they always been there? You know, I guess they have, but why are you seeing them more now? And so I taught them about a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. So if you think about right now, there is thousands and thousands of bytes of information coming into your nervous system. And you're only aware of it when I direct your attention to it. So do you feel the clothes touching your body? Do you hear the sound of the background noise? Do you feel the pressure of your bottom or your back on the chair or through your feet while you're standing? Have a quick look around the room, how much you could take in. All of the sounds, the smells. Scan your body, all of the attention. If you focus on your chest and put your hand there, you can feel your heart beat. But you're not aware of any of this until you bring attention to it. We are what's called deletion creatures. So all of this information is always available to us. But it's not until we direct our focus to it that now a part of our brain called the reticular activating system identifies that's important. And so when you are conscious, when you are deliberate, when you are aware in what you're focusing upon, you're deleting everything else. So I'm a huge fan of John Maxwell. If you haven't listened to him, his leadership, he is a pastor, but his leadership principles is just, I think, second to none. And I never forget listening to this story where he went to a movie and he's with some of the key leaders from his congregation. And he's sitting through the movie and having a great time. And when it finishes, they're walking out and they're like, John, that sex scene. And he's like, what sex scene? And the other's like, but what about all the swearing? It's like, what swearing? He was so focused on what was great that he doesn't even see or hear. He's not responsive to all that's available that he's not letting in. And I wanted to tell you that story because it's so pertinent right now. Mm-hmm. The pedophilia, the ministers, the masks, the lockdowns. And if you are constantly filling your psyche with it, you lost, right? That is what is wanted, the distraction, the fear. Every week there's a new thing that can divide humanity, which is the game. And your role is to stay in state of love and gratitude. And when you are, then you have certainty and you have presence. And then you can be of influence to other people. But the first two letters of influence is in. And the in comes from your input, what you're allowing into you. Okay? And so that then becomes your intent. And when you get your intent, your input and your intent right, and your innate, I'm doing a whole book on this, all right, on the concept of in. We're always looking outside for change, when if we change what's happening on the inside, and then we start to resonate at that frequency and we start to attract that. One other quick story. There's the Two Woodsman, the axe cutters. And you may have heard this before and hear it again on around this topic. There's the wise, the strong, the mature guy. And he is the champion woodcutter, where they've got it in the block and they cut it. And so it's known all throughout the land, all throughout the region, he is the master. But there's this young upcoming buck, you know, kind of late teens, hitting 20s, getting some strength. And he gets to the point where he challenges the old guys. That's it, I'm going to knock him off his pedestal. And it's an all-day competition. So there's two massive piles of wood, and whoever can chop the most from sun up to sundown. And so off they go. First light comes up, sun appears, they start chopping. They start chopping, and he's into it. The young buck chopping. And after about 2 hours, he looks across, and the old guy's not even there. And he's like, I have got this. I have absolutely nailed this. And then anyway, the guy comes back out, and he's just chopping. Another couple of hours, he looks across, the old guy's gone again. He's lost this. So this happens all throughout the day. Anyway, the sun goes down, both of them retire, and the people come in and count the wood. And then they come along and they announce who's going to be the winner. And he's already like, yeah. And they announce the old guy. And the young buck is just baffled. He's just like, what? How? Like, I was chopping all day, more than him. And so he was wise enough to actually, he was humble enough, and he kind of let his ego go. And he said to the old guy, well, when you left, you know, what did you do? And he was going into the shed, and he would get his axe out, and he was sharpening his blade. He was sharpening the saw. And again, I don't know how that's relevant to you, but if you like, I'll point it out. If you are in the grind all the time, if you're working in your business all the time and not stepping away to work on it, if you are in your relationship all the time, you're not stepping away to work on it. If you're on Facebook, having to know everything about the latest updates, the latest restriction, who said what. Like, I woke up, and if I wanted to, my inbox is already full with enough YouTube clips you guys have sent me. I could watch it all day and still not get through them all. And so you have to, and the reason I say this is we've taken a little hiatus from social media for a few days. Kate turned 40, and we're just like, that is not important right now. This only happens once a lifetime, and we've just done that. But now we come back and we're sharp, we're fresh. The saw has been sharpened. And then I do one post, and today, whatever, because I'm tuning in what's happening, and constructed a post where 10 hours ago I launched it. It's had 650 odd shares today. Now, I could have just been in there learning little stuff every day. So I want you to speak to me. I want you to give me feedback. What did you take from the stories? Reticular activating system, what you focus on, as well as sharpening the sword.